This conference will now be recorded.
All right, I'd like to call today's meeting to an order. Cassie, can we get a roll call, please?
Peterson, Wilson,
Here.
Luther,
Here.
Nikki, Stellick, Lewis,
Here.
Labarge,
Here.
Mo.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. On to the approval of the agenda modifications. Is there any modifications to the agenda? If not, can I get a motion to approve as is?
Move. Second.
All right, motion carried. I'm brain farting here. Do I have to vote on this one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to approval of the prior meeting minutes from May 11th. If everyone's had a moment to look through those, is there any changes? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting minutes approved. On to business, election of officers. So,
That time of year again, folks.
yep. Because right now I'm the chair, Tanner's vice chair. We don't have,
We don't elect a secretary just
Yeah.
because we have a recording secretary. So
Yeah,
I don't make you guys take notes because I can't even imagine.
okay. So we just need to
I'll make a motion to continue the officers as currently presented.
I'll second that motion.
that's really quick, guys. That's really quick.
Can it be an officer if you don't own a boat anymore? There's some rule against
Yeah.
being an officer.
As for leadership, I mean, let's go.
That's the fastest feeling of time.
You can be a member at large.
You're a member at large.
Yeah, but remember, there's a member of the public.
All right, so we have the motion on the floor to elect officers as stands. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
You're honored to serve.
I really set the standard here. On to line item number 2, commercial business SOP, Shannon.
Oh, when we started this whole thing, everything was kind of driven off the fact that the United States Coast Guard paid my office a visit and said, oh, by the way, if you have these kind of businesses, you need to make certain that they're registered. And so that's what kind of prompted this whole thing. And I will completely take the fault of that I look no further than the United States Coast Guard showing up in my office and saying that they are a commercial business, and my research showing that the United States Coast Guard said that they are a commercial business. As we began to explore this more, the United States Coast Guard by jurisdiction is allowed to decide what they're going to do, not do. Kind of shocked me. And Cincinnati, in between when this gentleman visited my office and that point, decided that they were no longer going to register them. So at that point in time, my next step was, okay, what does the state of Michigan say? When I checked with the state of Michigan, doing my due diligence, they had came up with the fact that they are actually livery boats, because the boat changes possession from the registered owner to somebody else using it. So that makes it a livery boat, and they have to be permitted that way. So that is now how the current SOP that you guys are looking at is written, is that they need to still meet all state, federal, and local guidelines. In particular, they need to be registered as a livery boat for the state of Michigan. To be a livery boat in the state of Michigan, you need to have that dry dock inspection that we were concerned about. And then also the dock side.
That's a Coast Guard.
That's a state of Michigan.
I mean, does the Coast Guard do the eval on the boat or not?
There is one company from Traverse City, I guess, that does the bottom eval of the boat. And then the second one is done by a conservation officer from the state of Michigan.
So 2 get done.
There's 2 different ones getting done. One of them, like I said, is the boat sound inspection, and then is the boat safe as far as being on the water.
Is that annual?
One of them is annual, and the other one is every 3 years. Triannual.
The cost of B&Bs just went up.
What?
Which one is annual?
The dock side.
Dockside?
Dock side is done annually, and then that other one is done every 3 years, is my understanding. Dry dock inspection is done every 3 years. Or upon transfer of the boat.
Well, how does that work? Would like somebody from the Traverse City company come here when it's on the hard and just look at it and say,
Yeah, no, there's more. to-
There's quite a bit.
I mean,
There,
they don't have to like take the boat to Traverse City.
no, they come, well, they got to do it when it's out of the water.
Yes, it's got to be done on the hard, out of the water anyways. I know that we've lifted boats for these inspections in the past. So they, not only would they end up with that, they would also have a lift fee from us to pick it up for the guy to see it, fortunately. A lot of them get them done when they're sitting on the hard for winterization. But that's the current procedure. My understanding is both the boats that are interested in being an Airbnb right now in the marina have already went through that process.
Okay, cool.
Gonna get my question right here. Is it the same if the boat leaves the dock or stays at the dock? I mean, is it?
If it change, and what the determining factor in it is if it changes possession and is given into custody of somebody else that is not the registered owner. Now, if it leaves the dock, which we do not allow as part of our standard operating procedure, is that the renters are not allowed to take the boat out unless they're a charter captain.
And that charter captain has to have a registered charter
Gotta be a
business.
charter.
Too. Can't just be like a charter captain jumped on the boat.
Well, and we will allow that. If a charter captain flies up from Florida and they want to rent one of these Airbnbs and they give us their charter license,
Oh, okay.
which is a Coast Guard license.
Okay.
At that point in time, then that is our requirement, is that, you know, they've got a captain who's a charter captain and can take it from the dock if they've got it rented, is how it's worded in there right now.
I think it's fine.
But, and they could actually, like the one boat that I'm thinking of, the husband is actually in the process of becoming a charter captain. So they would actually be registered in the marina as a charter business and then additionally as an Airbnb.
And they have a lot of double dipping anyways, because they'd have the proof of the inspections and everything else as part of that. So it's not like it's adding extra stuff to them.
No.
I had one or two quick questions, if it's allowed. Underneath boat bed and breakfast, is bed and breakfast a term that the state wants us to use, or is that a self-use time? Because
That is
Could be-
the actual way the United States Coast Guard refers to them.
it's how they've, okay, I was wondering, because I've seen it like referred to peer.
Yep.
PP web.
There's
Okay.
that was a term that the United States Coast Guard was using, so that was the one I went with originally.
Okay.
I asked that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It seemed strange, but that's.
Yes.
because usually bed and breakfast is, bed and breakfast, but if you're just renting the boat, would someone try to loop? I guess my question, would someone try to loophole it,
Mhm.
but because it's referred to as but you have the boat livery, definitely. And then remind me, underneath insurance requirements, the general liability insurance of not less than 1 million, is that a standard procedure for city? Would the 1 million, okay.
The 1 million is actually already used on other businesses operated on city property.
Okay.
So it's it's our standard for what is expected. A food truck that is operating on a park would actually have to have that same, it's the same.
It's not an unreasonable.
Is it, okay, that was gonna be my next question for Steve
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, our contractors, for example, have to have 2 million.
Okay.
I mean, this is not even as high as what a contractor for the city of Alpena would have to have.
Okay.
Is the insurance a requirement on from Coast Guard also? I mean, if it were.
They already have to have insurance to have a charter boat. What we're asking for is that we are listed as additionally insured to cover the city in addition to them with their operations.
Okay.
I have a question of Steve. So as far as a business that lists the city as additional insured, is that something that is a lot of additional costs to that business?
No. Someplace, it's always less than $100, the most.
Right.
Yeah.
For that business for the entire time they're operating though?
Probably $25.
Okay.
Yes.
Annually.
Right.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Do you have people talk about putting a sign up?
I have signs down there right now, so I'm addressing it.
Okay.
I knew there was one sign
There's two.
that I can think of, but
There's two.
Okay.
One of them's coming down shortly.
Yeah.
is that size just
To me, it was not an obnoxious size sign. It's not a billboard. You know, what I'm preventing is somebody getting the 4x6 piece of plywood and slapping it on the side of their dock.
can they
I give you
on
a,
their boat if they wanted to?
what?
Can they put something on their boat if they wanted to?
That's your boat. You fly your freak.
Yeah. I guess, is there any other outstanding questions from anyone else on the committee? So then I'm assuming like there's only a tiny bit of this, but like the grammar error that's on insurance requirements with the Roman numerals, that be corrected. So if we accept it as is today, does that need to be sorted?
You can just,
As modified.
with,
Then it, okay. So the one legal question, yeah, so there's that. And then the other one I have, this is just me from doing contracts before. In the very start of the SOP, underneath policy definitions and commercial businesses, on the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph, there's a lot of his and her. And then throughout the rest of the document, you do a lot of they and their. I'm used to seeing only they and their. That
Well, and the reason I have that is because,
because you both on
the state of, this is actually directly from the state of,
pulled from. Okay,
yes, that's their definition of a delivery boat.
okay, that's something for them. Okay.
Yes.
that's what he's talking about.
So I guess if everyone's fine with the under section 1 staying as is, and then the correction for the insurance requirements, I would just need floor provisions.
Question, do we have what, 2?
Right now, we currently have 2 businesses that are asking to become Airbnbs or boat bed and breakfast in the marina.
And our limitation is 2?
2.
And the SOP is something that will be reviewed.
Typically at request or as we feel necessary. Typically,
It's not going to be a yearly thing that we have to revisit it every time.
no.
Since it's a standard operating procedure and not a council policy statement, then it's something that you guys could, make a recommendation to, and then I can just change it.
Okay.
Take action, okay.
So I guess that's Al brings up a valid point. I mean,
Mhm.
at one point we had a request to bring it up to 3. That issue has resolved itself. I mean, do we want to have that conversation? Is 2 the number we think, or should we just give ourselves a buffer of 3? I mean,
I say stick with 2 for now. If it's an issue, we'll talk about it.
You can always change that at any time, can't
yeah. Okay. All right. So then if there's no other further discussions with this, we need a motion to accept with the correction underneath insurance requirements.
I'll make a motion.
Recommend.
Recommend.
Yes, your motion to recommend.
Yeah.
you?
Recommended correction.
I'm like your parliamentarian.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the hand holding. I need it.
I'll make a motion to recommend.
Yes.
I would support that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Don, you're doing an excellent job.
Thanks. Yeah.
We're so proud of you.
For 1 more year.
Yeah. Got 1 more year, baby.
Wasn't that a lifetime?
Yeah. Jeez Louise.
No, we elected that. I thought it'd go about going 5 years, but
There's probably a reason Ed left so quick after I became chairperson. So
mhm.
oh, thank God someone else do it. So do you need a letter from me directed towards city council at all? Okay.
Nope. We're looking for your recommendation to the city manager to sign it.
Okay.
With that motion, I'll just,
We'll
someone will make
fix a couple.
correction and I'll sign it.
Okay.
And, that's something we will share with city council.
All right, on to line item 3, annual critical issues list.
I left you guys some homework last time.
I found one.
What was it?
The water leak.
Oh, yes. Wayne did really well. He found us a water leak, so we got that taken care of today, finally. We finally got the parts in from supply. So the water is back on the 100, 200 docks again.
Like the no fishing signage. Is there a fishing.
Yes, there are a lot of fishing, yeah.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend, there was quite a few people coming into the actual slips.
Kids trying to snag and everything.
Yep.
I still think with that, the style
Be a tough stop.
Yeah.
Because people have been doing it for so long.
What I can, I don't know if we, and that's, I've got to figure out a proper way to do that. I think on every slip, we can put a sign that says no fishing, boaters only.
Yeah.
We have the boaters only ones, which kind of covers that if you're not a boater, you should not be on that slip.
Yeah.
So let me pull out those signs. We'll at least get those back on all the slips here in the next couple of,
Yeah.
So as a boater's owner and my, let's say a son or whatever, they are allowed to fish off that dock if I have a
If you're
slip.
boat slip,
yeah, it's a,
regardless.
right. There should be no fishing regardless. And I mean, that's where everybody's like, well, you need to stencil it great big on. No.
Yeah.
And
I know at Prescott,
I'm trying to,
really hammer that home at Prescott as far as fishing on the docks. You can
Right.
fish the shores and.
Yep. And that's what we do here in the marina also. We have kind of designated areas in our mind where you can fish. And I do correct the kids as I see them, and the kids are better than the adults.
Sounds about right.
So,
Yeah, I think if you had something you could point to.
yeah. So then we can go with no fishing. It's just that you're not supposed to tell people no on signage anymore. That's the newest thing. So that's why we were going to put the boaters only signs up, but we will go ahead and go with no fishing signs if you guys think that'll be better.
Even if they're right on the boardwalk at Prentice Street, they're technically not on the slip docks
Mm-hmm.
fishing.
So they'd be fishing between a couple of slips.
Yeah, so this
And that's-
past weekend, there was just a ton of that going on.
Yeah. Because they'll throw it.
In between the boats, yeah.
And that's,
It wouldn't be a big deal if we didn't come back to our boats with hooks and sails.
well, and that's what I always,
I wouldn't care.
yeah, and I do point that out. The kids are respectful of that. It's the adults who are like, well, I don't do it. Well, that's congratulations, but how do I tell the 13-year-old kid he can't do it when you're doing it?
That holds true with all the docks. I mean,
All the docks regardless. So we will figure out, I will put some signage,
What do you want to say, like fishing prohibited?
fishing prohibited.
You don't want to say no?
No, yeah, you have to say fishing prohibited on any area of the docks. So I'll put that at both ends, probably one in the middle if I can figure out a spot to maybe on one of the signs there. I just hate to litter the marina with signs.
Yeah, you
agree.
don't want to have the just
Yeah.
everywhere. And yeah, makes sense.
So then we'll take a look at getting some signage done, maybe on the light poles. We'll put it at each light pole on Prentice Street. And then we'll put it at both ends of the thing. And then as we go on to the docks at the transient section, I'll also put it there.
what about like Blair Street or any of those piers that go out? Would that be
They can fish in those,
fish on those?
yes. And we do allow them in,
Enough of those, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud now, but is there enough of those? Is that
Fishing
something?
designated fishing spots.
you can fish all the way up and down the river on South Riverfront and North Riverfront Park, which is the dog park, and then across the river from that. You can fish all over on the breakwall.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. You can fish, and if people ask, I always tell them they're allowed to fish on the shoreline and kind of
Area?
in the dog run area. And then on the rocks on the opposite side of that. I kind of tell them those are areas that are open for fishing. I don't have a problem with that because, I mean, I would just as soon see kids out fishing as playing with a video game at home, I guess. So I don't have a problem with them being someplace where they're not going to cause damage to the boats. And a lot of the kids are respectful of it. I tell them where they can and can't fish in the marina, and they're all good with that.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
So I can go with fishing prohibited signs, and we'll put them, like I said, on the light poles and things like that. I will notify the public safety officers that is going to be going into effect. We'll post them again on every dock as you go on, or on the docks over on the other side also.
So you would restrict everyone, your son, grandson can fish off the back of your boat in the harbor or not?
Technically not at that point in time.
That's what
Yeah, technically not. If we're yeah.
Standard, okay, I'm with you.
Technically at that point in time, no, you wouldn't be able to fish off your swim platform.
Okay.
Because it's got to be kind of a one and done. How do you tell?
Your lines and all that kind of crap out. But
We catch them, yeah. We get them every once in a while, yeah. Mostly
it
it's
feels good to pull
ropes.
in the line and go, oh.
Yep. And that's, it's going to have to be a completely across the board. There will be no fishing off the docks. I know there's going to be a couple of families that are probably not going to be overly excited about that, but it's, one or two people that ruined it.
Places they can, yeah, that are much prettier to fish in too. I'm not sure if I want to catch a fish in the marina. No.
I mean, it is a state law that you can't fish in a marina.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like we're doing something.
Not creating something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not, it is. I mean, it's right in the rules for anybody. You can't fish in a marina. So, I mean, it's.
If that was on the sign as well, state law, fishing prohibited.
I can take a look at that.
Was there, I'm trying to remember if this was a conversation out of the meeting or at the last meeting, something to do with the break wall rails and there potentially being an opportunity?
I'm going to reach out. I got to double check with all the rest of the marina staff, the city staff. There's a guards group of about 140 coming into Alpena. And we are going to kind of ask them if they are willing, because they said they like to go do a community project when they're here. 140 people, there's 220 sections of rail. It's a rail and a half each. We're going to see if they will paint it. They've got black paint at Sherwin-Williams right now.
Why do you want to switch it from blue to black?
What do you want it to be?
Well, blue is black.
I don't.
To be the standard, isn't it? I mean, you look around other.
Is
Okay.
it black?
Presqu'île, is it?
Light, what color the light?
The lights are bronze color.
What's Presqu'île? Is that blue too? I mean,
I want to be better than Presqu'île.
there you go. I
Thinking
don't-
pink, but that's just me maybe.
So the blue does fade. I don't know if the black.
I think you'd be into fading with any of it. I mean, we could look at a navy,
Looks
which is kind of a compromise.
Another thing you could have them do while they're doing that, they could paint those light poles.
I'm going to have the kids paint the light poles.
A lot of where the rails on the,
Call them kids. I should call them what they are, as dock attendants.
Jason's our color consultant.
I'm sorry, what?
a lot of the rails on the concrete's kind of blown out around freezing and stuff like that.
That's not an easy fix.
Right.
That's an expensive fix. They're solid.
Yeah.
As long as they're behave themselves, I try not to have to fix them. Because then it's pretty expensive to fix the railing. I know I've had
Oh, even just like patch the
Those
concrete
patches, yeah,
around
there's
it.
some really good stuff out there.
stuff
Yeah, and it only lasts a season anyways.
and it pops out the winter. So
Not gonna get any more blown out by the frost and ice.
yeah, and that's when you fix. I'm yet to find the right epoxy. If I can find the right epoxy, then I can fix the blowout areas. They're not a trip hazard technically where they're sitting in the railing right now, and the railings are solid. To do it at that point in time, I have to cut out a section like this around that railing, take the railing off,
Yeah.
rebar it all back in. So it's all got to be drilled in, put in there, formed up, and then hope it doesn't blow apart that first winter.
100 times over.
Yes, so it's not that I'm ignoring it. They are being observed. I do walk down them a couple times a year just to double check that they're solid, but it's pretty convoluted to fix them. And I'm trying to avoid it if I can.
The lights on the like Little Red and the green tower, is that the marinas or
I don't think so.
Tower one is it? Oh, didn't we have that issue last year too?
The lights,
You're talking about the
like the green lights coming in.
the green one is out?
I'll ask Thunder Bay Electric because they seem to go out and fix it, and I don't know who they send the bill to.
I know we're now stretching on the territory what we do with, but I know that the Little Red paint scheme has come up a couple times in different avenues and chats. Have we ever figured out if that's the responsibility of the city, Coast Guard,
Who owns that? I guess.
our feds?
Nobody can really answer that question.
Because Shannon was asking me about who's got the key out. You know, he said, I think I can get some volunteers and paint it or whatever. And yeah, I don't think anybody knows who
Yeah.
holds the title.
Grant, I'm not even sure if you'd want to.
I don't know. I know I've never found any documents that said it's mine to care for and love. So I've never cared for it and loved it.
Because I know the DDA had asked us, well, this was a couple months back, and we found the articles related to which organization was putting them up for sale.
Mhm.
But I thought that I didn't find anything else following that talked about how that resolved itself.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, not to get off topic. We're already in that area.
Yep.
Mention it. Okay.
Last year, the weeds were an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know was because that guy was late. Is he like scheduled already to come?
He is scheduled, I think, next week, the 6th.
But it sure looks a lot better after all that brush and crap was cut out of the break wall over the, everything was growing out of there for years. It's a huge improvement.
That's what we do, walk down through that. We kind of keep an eye on it, cut out anything that's growing up again. There's a couple of chemicals that we dump on them to keep them from growing back.
Dark.
What?
Do it after dark.
Yeah, there's actually a mix that we can use aquatic side. So it's the same stuff they spray in the water.
Cool. Any other critical issues?
And I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I didn't go over the critical issues thing. The dock install, I'm sure you've all talked about that.
Yeah, they sent me an email. So they want to deliver them the week of the 20th. I'm going to be out of town, so I prefer if they didn't deliver them the week of the 20th. He said to get with him when we could get things arranged. So hopefully shortly here I can try to get that sorted with everybody that's involved.
So, I mean, realistically, we're probably going to be looking closer to the absolute end of June.
Yes, I would say that's probably closer.
Is that going to cause any boat moving issues for you think?
Yeah.
And everybody knows that's on the.
They know they're on their way. They were delayed. They know that. Everybody is kind of aware. Everybody is willing to flip-flop themselves around to make it happen. So
They get new docks out of it.
well, and that's pretty much what they said, is that the reward is worth the hassle. So
Can you remind me, the delay is material being delivered?
yeah, I believe so. I think it was their materials showing up in Canada for them.
Okay.
What's your expected timeline once they're here to install?
I hope not long.
Like a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping that we can like shuffle 5 docks over to transient, pull those 5 docks, install those 5 docks, shuffle them back, shuffle the next batch over, pull those, shuffle.
By the following, so what, you're gone the 20th, the next week they put them in. The following 2 weeks are probably like our 2 busiest weeks of the summer.
So that's what I'm trying to shuffle around all of that.
I'm just wondering, do we get to a point where we say we'll just do it in August?
That's a conversation I'm going to have with Elwin.
Okay.
I realistically see, I see the same thing that you're looking at. We're going to go 4th of July, kind of get through that week. The next week is the brown trout setup.
Right.
I am on the same page you are. I'm just trying to see how long they'll delay.
Yeah. Because it was,
Yeah, my mind goes to, well, we run into one issue and that could delay
Yes,
a week.
that's all it takes is one thing to go wrong and then we're in trouble.
Is the demo pulling the pilings, is that their issue or is that our issue?
That's ours.
Do they pull them or you cut them at the?
I am hoping, I've got both the contractors in the back of my head that can do this.
Yeah.
Both have vibratory.
Yeah.
You hook them to the top of those piers and you give them a whack with the vibratory and they,
Come, yeah.
we drive, these companies drive sheet pile every day.
Time, yeah.
Yep. They know exactly how to do stuff to get stuff moved.
well, if we don't have any other critical issues, I feel like we're kind of getting more into the Harbor Master report section here. I guess for the rest of the committee, we just kind of, if we see anything else that pops up,
Yep.
mention it to Shannon. So
Yep. We're going to do a little,
out there for the last week.
yeah, we're going to do a little Shay cleanup here this week. I kind of walked through and had stuff that I want to see fixed.
Didn't we talk about having people come out and do the flowers or something? That group that does like doing.
Yeah, Peanut Garden Club.
Yeah.
One more time, what?
Garden club or
The
what?
Garden Club
Garden
coming
Club.
out to certain spots in the marina to
Spruce things up.
spruce things up.
The kids are, the deckhands have already went through and planted all their flowers.
Okay.
Down there, the hanging baskets went in today.
Cool.
Those showed up yesterday, so those went up today. The other flowers were planted over the weekend of the 20th of May. They started on the 20th and finished that next week. It took them a little bit of time to get them all in.
And you're starting to do adopt a park from now too.
Yes.
Any spots in the marina area that?
I actually have 2 beds in the marina that can be adopted, so always encourage people if you want to go out and pull some weeds and take care of that stuff.
And if they wanted to change anything, they just clear it through like.
They have to come over and talk to us about it because we want to make certain you're not putting an invasive in, you're not changing over things that, if you notice, we have a lot of red geraniums around Alpena. It's kind of the flower.
Yeah.
That is our go-to. So, you can't suddenly change them all out to purple geraniums or something.
Yeah. Where are those 2 beds?
One of the beds is by the launch.
Okay.
And the other one is the screening wall, which I have to give a lot of kudos to Troop 92. That I had 12 young men come out one day and they weeded and spread mulch and trimmed bushes and everything else. They probably got 3/4 of that bed cleaned up in 2 hours. Those young men worked their tails off that day. And the pile of brush was taller than me and wider than I could reach when we were done. So they did a phenomenal job out there. So if you know any of the young gentlemen that are part of Troop 92, please shake their hand and thank them on the behalf of the Marina and the Harbor Advisory Board, because again, they worked hard. If you go look through there, it's weeded, it's mulched, it's everything. They went until they ran out of mulch, and I think they would have kept going if we wouldn't have run out of mulch. So
Cool. So Harbor Master report, you will be gone for the week of June 18th.
I will be gone for the week of June 18th. I will be so gone the week of June 18th. Orange phone
We're really,
will not ring. My husband has found the location that the orange phone will not ring. Yes, so
Well, you deserve it.
What's the contact then, Rich?
at this point in time, I'm going to kind of give you guys a lowdown of what it will be. There's kind of a multifaceted. When you if you send me an email, you'll actually get a list back of who you got to call for what.
Okay.
Cooter is going to be our go-to at the marina as far as things on ground, things wrong at the grounds. Cooter will be your contact that week if things are going on. What I'll do is have you probably direct a lot of stuff through Cassie, because she'll know who's on Cooter or Kyle.
Okay.
As far as that's concerned.
We respond to the bat symbol.
He will. Trust me.
You see it in the
Because
sky.
for some reason Tanner has that in his backyard. Right?
Yes. Yes. If I'm serious, if you guys flew the
Tanner will airlift.
boat in distress signal over the marina, Cooter would be there.
We can get her a fire or a public safety radio.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sat phone.
Jeez, snatched that the moment we got in her hands.
Point in time, because I couldn't even tell you where this lake is located, but they're going to put me on a plane, fly me in, and then land me on the water cabin in the middle of nowhere with like no electric.
So if we don't hear from you after this vacation,
I am like 3 hours from the Sioux border, the Sioux crossing.
nice.
MIA.
What about the geese announcement that goes off? Is that been adjusted?
We shut that down just because the voters are in there now, and we knew it was an annoyance. My next thought is we're looking at a couple other options. I actually am looking at the suggestion of a couple people. We're trying to find a drone operator who's willing to go torment them with the drone. I'm still there every morning at 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on how well I get out of my house.
There is
Chase?
a class
Mhm.
at ACC,
Yes.
and we actually just had at the
Drone class, right?
luncheon.
Yeah. So-
Yeah, there's a
Yep.
guy who might be able to help us.
Yes. So we do have a few less goslings than last year, but the big group has not moved out to Sugar Island yet. Or wherever island they go to for summer. But Doc Hand's diligently cleaning every morning. I've went down there in the mornings and cleaned it myself. They seem to be hanging around the flag right now. I've got another theory on that. I'm still paying 4 biscuits a day. And I do have the regular employees that come and get their 4 biscuits a day. 3-4 times a week, they're down there chasing them or scaring them off. So, I mean,
Good.
that's kind of the procedure we're taking right now. The more they're hazed, the more they don't want to be there. Did not spray the chemical yet just because it didn't seem to really help when we sprayed it last year. So I hate to spend $150 on it if it's not going to work for us.
Yeah. Soccer fields are full of goose grease.
Mm-hmm.
Always will be.
You knew about it.
Yeah.
Grass.
We're gonna,
Areas, yeah.
I was gonna try ordering a couple of the reflective eyeballs to put down in a couple areas. And then, like I said, additionally, I've got dogs that are walking down there every evening, kind of giving them the boot. Where we run into trouble is about 9 o'clock, things get quiet and they float in. So I need something to deter them at 9 o'clock at night. The speakers are maybe not the right solution for 9 o'clock at night because you guys want to take a nap.
Anything else for Harbor's Master's report?
All the boats in the water?
No. No, tomorrow, oh, there's an announcement. Tomorrow starts $50 penalties for anybody who did not call Shannon and give her a reason why she needs to give them more time.
How many boats do we have out of the water?
Several, but unfortunately, the whole row along Harbor Drive is all out in sick bay. They're all waiting on parts. They were put in and started sinking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there was multiple.
$50 a day.
Yes,
15 hours a day?
$50 a day.
I think we approved that. Just throwing that out there. I think we approved that.
I've got boats that have given me good reasons. I had one that had a family emergency and couldn't get in.
You're not applying it to everyone. You're applying to the people that have absolutely zeroed.
Zero reason not to put it in.
Exactly. I have a couple that have just point blank told me that they have no intentions. So
Cool.
I'm going to call them and remind them tomorrow that their first $50 is due.
The big Chris Craft,
Bonfire.
you guys own that yet?
Not quite yet, but it's getting awfully close.
Jewish lightning, I think, is what we need.
Jewish lightning would be probably the best thing that could ever happen, but we know that's not going to happen. So
The Chris Craft emblem off of that.
the Chris Craft next to that, he won't answer his phone either.
Huh.
I don't know if I am the spot where you park Chris Crafts forever and ever, but
I own a Chris Craft and it's,
okay, but your Chris Craft is exactly where it belongs. The one guy was supposed to come get it in December and then it got icy, so he didn't want to move it and he was going to come back in the spring and we both called him and he will not answer. So I'm going to have the city attorney maybe make the next phone call for me.
Because those boats are accruing the fines, right? Or they're going to start accruing
He will, yes. So he will start accruing the fine. The other one, at some point in time, if you push it so hard, then I'm going to own my very own Chris Craft that I never wanted before. Yes. So
Well, there's not any issues with Arley and Reed, right? They're
They'll have a whole.
getting them in as fast as they,
Over
I
time.
think so.
right, and that's
I think people schedule.
I mean, they're not an obstacle, are they?
I don't think so, no.
what's that?
Arley and Reed, they're not an obstacle, are they? They're,
No, they're putting them in. There are times that they can't accommodate somebody's exact schedule. Those are boats that have contacted me and say, okay, they couldn't get me in last Saturday.
Yeah.
Can I wait till this Saturday? Those are the boats right now that you're seeing that they're on schedule. So at that point in time, we're giving them those couple of extra days. The weather was not real conducive every weekend in the month of May until last weekend. The ones you're seeing me probably hammer down on a little bit were the people that did nothing, didn't even get their shrink wrap off yet.
Right.
Those are the ones I'm going to start cracking down on. I got a regular who's point blank told me he has no intentions. So
Do they have a reason for it? They just, no.
no, he doesn't want to put the boat in.
Is it a trailer? Is it on,
Well,
what's,
It's on stands.
definitely talk to the city attorney about it because I need to know what our options are as far as,
Mhm.
you know, getting it
It's
out.
not a parking.
Yeah, and that's where we're at with it. Is there's a couple of them at this point in time. I unfortunately think they're going to become our problem, and then I'm going to list them on Medina auctions and get rid of them if I can.
Do we have, what's the right way to say it? Do we have in any of our agreements, any kind of verbiage that helps stop that kind of behavior of like, I'm just gonna dump it in the city's marina and it'll just become theirs?
That's $50 a
And but if they don't pay the $50, then, and it exceeds the value of the boat, when the city just theory.
You seize it and say it's yours.
well, and that's why we, yeah.
Stuff that goes along with that, you know, that's about the best I can
Yep.
say. It's not as simple as we can just take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's things that go to it, and I mean, a lot of times just a strongly worded letter from a attorney gets you moving in the right direction. So
Yeah, I guess it just sounds like we all of a sudden have a couple more boats that are just,
yeah, I mean, there's
you know,
whole processes that go into this, and I am pretty certain that once I can get Bill and I sitting down together, because I was really hoping that the one Chris Craft had been donated to an auction site, a charity auction site, and it had been bought. And then they,
those.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because I mean, with those boats sitting there, they peed on you and they peed on the brown trout and every other event that happened. So,
well, and that's, I mean, the one, like I said, the big Chris Craft, the Crow is, or not the Crow, the Templar is at the point now where it's pretty hefty in what's owed to us.
I wonder too if we can't relocate them.
We can, but I don't know where to relocate them. We can't relocate them off site without some pretty significant expense,
Okay.
especially the one, because we're talking power lines.
So show me which ones, yeah, we'll talk later.
Yep, but there's a couple of them that they're not on trailers. So what?
We have addresses, right?
I do have addresses.
We don't have it. We don't have
delivery. I mean, that's one way to do it, right?
That's a good idea.
COD.
by the way, here's the bill for.
Yeah, make sure they give the bill to the sender.
Yeah, what our options
Yeah.
are legally and.
Yeah. Well, it just from the way it was being pitched, it sounds like maybe there's a couple of boats that people are just like potentially dumping in our,
Well, the one
a lot more trickier than that, but it just,
one was a free boat that wasn't so free for these people they're finding out, and then the other one this guy bought, and it's in great shape. I don't know why he doesn't have it yet. But like I said, a strongly worded letter.
the city at one time didn't, where you stored trailers and all that. Didn't there used to be some boats on trailers?
Yeah, there's a couple
Junk?
there that are ours.
Out there?
Yep, there's a.
So that might be the location if you ultimately had to move them, right?
but you can't do the bigger one because of,
I'd have to bring in a special trailer.
That'd be.
The other one, I think the other one I could probably get moved on a trailer that's local, but again, I don't think I should have to go to that extent.
Yep.
Couple of them that were a problem or a outstanding bill came in and paid recently, so I got another one that it was really cool to own a boat when you're 17, but it's not cool anymore. Just there's a couple of things there that we just need to.
Crow's Nest could be another vessel out in the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's almost always,
Those emblems.
yeah, wreck dive.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I'm at the point now where we need to start exploring those options, but it was more important to get as many in as we could beforehand. When I last talked to the people who owned the one Chris Craft, they were thinking about just paying dockage and setting it back in the water and letting her go again. So I don't know where they're at right now, other than going to be starting to pay $50 a day for it to sit on the lot.
With the vessels that are basically quote unquote kind of abandoned, if the city decides to go through the processes of basically taking them, is that something that would come eventually to this advisory committee for, or is that basically that's full
It would be,
city council level?
that would be city staff, city council level where that would be addressed. If we had to go through abandoned vessels and having to deal with it, I don't know as if it would ever come before harbor advisory as much as it would.
Probably not, but I mean, I think that we would at least designate the funding go
Yeah.
toward the marina.
Hello? Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Got rid of one boat already.
We must have a harbor master update coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they found the manhole she was looking for.
Perfect.
It could be either of those two things.
Not a problem. I'm at the harbor advisory meeting. I'll give you a call back. Yep, bye. One of my problem boats decided he was going to go in.
Okay.
So
Hey,
No one in the meeting.
down to one.
Arlie doesn't call for nothing, so I always take that phone call.
Fair enough.
So yes, no, he's that boat. One of the problem children is going in. He's now not going to have to pay a penalty. So
Cool. Perfect.
We solved one of the problems.
yes, so one of my problem children is in now.
Just had to talk about it.
Yep.
Cool. We all set for Harbor Master report?
I think I am. I've talked enough.
Let's move on to public comment. One from the public. Awesome. Member comments. Staff comments. All right. Before we adjourn the next meeting, that is my birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
As much as I love you all, I think the only way in God's green earth I'm going to show up to that meeting is if you all like make me a cake or something, because I don't think
What flavor?
That's July 6th. So I don't know. Would anybody be okay with, would it hurt to push it a week or?
Anyone good? I mean, that's.
Tanner does a really good job.
And that's what Cassie's kind of like. Are we really going to have a July meeting? I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, if you don't have an agenda, why meet?
Unless there's something urgent, I don't see why you couldn't cancel it.
Go to August.
Unless you have something.
Yeah, the real action month.
You guys want to go out sailing as opposed to hanging out with me?
Well, like I said, if the cake and like beer showed up, I'd show up to the meeting. Just.
He won't be here sober.
I mean,
Early cut.
Yeah.
I'm okay with canceling.
I am too.
And we'll just.
Unless there's something like we need, something important
comes up.
Yeah, pull up a meeting if you need one online or.
Assuming you'll email us about the docs when you find out more.
Yes. Once I find out more, I can email you about that.
Okay.
Trying to find a date for you.
Oh, the next one.
August
Should have brought that up at the beginning. Sorry.
August 3rd.
I won't be here for that one.
I may not be here either.
It's like scheduling dock hands. I swear it's like scheduling dock hands. To be determined.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Let me see where we are as far as agenda items and stuff like that. To be determined.
Do we need a motion? Okay, cool. All right. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Don't move.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
All right. Carried.